In the latest breaking news, the war between Ukraine and Russia continues with heated clashes. There's a major development from the Chase of Yar region. A large convoy of around 20 Russian armored vehicles advanced toward the front line, attempting to break through the Ukrainian defenses. However, things didn't go as they had expected this time. As you can see, one of the armored vehicles strikes a mine. That's the first hit the Ukrainians land on the enemy. Immediately following that, Ukrainian forces use a Javelin missile to deliver another blow, beginning the full destruction of the enemy armored convoy. Ukrainian soldiers use a Javelin to completely obliterate the enemy armored vehicle, and the enemy soldiers are neutralized. But it doesn't stop there. Ukrainian forces then use FPV kamikaze drones to strike another of the enemy's tanks. And the result is clear. The enemy vehicle is once again blown to pieces. But the enemy convoy is still on the move. They're now trying to take cover among the ruins and destroyed buildings, hoping to escape. However, things are not going their way. The Ukrainians are using FPV drones and long-range precision strikes to disable the enemy armored vehicles one by one. The Russian assault units' vehicles are maneuvering, trying to escape without knowing what to do. But as you can see, none of their efforts are helping them at all. Still on open ground, the remaining enemy armored vehicles are destroyed by kamikaze drones, neutralizing the enemy soldiers. The convoy consisted of armored vehicles, tanks, and APCs, and each one was taken out one by one. Ukrainian infantry were effectively using Javelin anti-tank systems to destroy targets directly. The Russian convoy's formation was completely broken, leaving them disorganized and exposed as easy targets. The activity on the field continued after the recent destruction of the 20-vehicle Russian armored convoy. With the convoy scattered, some of the surviving Russian soldiers attempted to take shelter in the ruins of the Chase of Yar region. However, Ukrainian forces immediately blocked their escape routes. The area was scanned with unmanned aerial vehicles, and FPV drones checked the ruins one by one. Swift attacks were launched on the targeted locations. A notable aspect of the operation was the coordination. First, the convoy was stopped with mines and anti-tank systems. Then, FPV drone attacks were brought in. The fleeing soldiers were eliminated in the ruins. This step-by-step tactic gives Ukraine a major advantage on the ground. We have more breaking news from the front line, and once again, a Russian assault unit, this time with 4 tanks, tried to launch an attack from another direction. In this military engagement in Donetsk, Ukrainian kamikaze drones delivered mysterious strikes against the enemy armored vehicles. The Russian armored unit, a convoy of 4 tanks, was advancing quickly toward Ukrainian positions with the goal of breaking through their defensive line and capturing a key location. As you can see, the Russian armored vehicles that were just moving are now sitting motionless in the middle of the field. The enemy soldiers are unsure what to do, as FPV drones are absolutely devastating their vehicles. Smoke is rising into the air, and the destruction of each vehicle is making the others even more rapid. FPV drone operators on the front line moved in an instant. The FPV kamikaze drones began to glide toward their targets like birds of prey. This time, their goal was to completely disable the already hit Russian armored vehicles, crushing the enemy's advance on this ground. The FPV kamikaze drones dropped their munitions on top of each vehicle, tearing them apart. While watching the video, don't forget to write "Long live Ukraine" in the comments and subscribe to the channel. We are strong together and we will grow together. In another update from the Ukraine-Russia war, Ukraine's 33rd Mechanized Brigade, using Leopard 2A4 tanks, launched a series of surprise strikes on Russian positions north of the village of Kostiantynivka in the Donetsk region. The 2 Leopard tanks advanced in a coordinated attack, with a series of artillery shells forcing the Russian troops to remain in their trenches. The engagement was short but highly effective, as the Leopard's firepower completely shattered the enemy positions. Observation drones recorded every hit. The Leopard 2A4 tanks, used by the Ukrainian soldiers, are known not only for their firepower, but also for their psychological impact on the battlefield. This maneuver weakened Russia's pressure on the front line. As the Ukrainian army continues to advance with flexible tactics along the Donetsk line, one has to wonder what the Russians are thinking when they face this powerful armor. The combination of conventional armored force and modern technology is consistently disrupting Russian assault attempts, showing us once again the harsh reality of war. In this latest military engagement, the Ukrainian soldiers prepared well, acted at the right time, and successfully stopped the enemy in their tracks. Here's another hot development from the Kursk front. Units from Ukraine's 47th Mechanized Brigade have launched a coordinated operation against Russian positions. On the front line, an M1A1 Abrams tank and an M2A2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicle are advancing together. This duo is showing unique cooperation to break through Russia's defensive lines. Heavy fighting has now begun. The M2A2 Bradley is laying down intense fire on Russian infantry positions with its 25mm chain gun, while the Abrams tank is taking a position to destroy the main targets, which are armored vehicles. The Russian forces were taken completely by surprise. The Bradley's accurate fire neutralized the Russian soldiers in their trenches, while the presence of the tank completely broke any resistance in the area. This attack once again proves how effectively Ukraine is using modern military technology on the front lines. This time, Ukrainian soldiers have located enemy Russian soldiers in the ruins. FPV drone teams from Ukraine's 5th Mechanized Brigade have just completed a critical operation. They identified 2 Russian soldiers who had infiltrated a ruined area. The enemy was using this location as a hidden position. As you can see, not only were enemy soldiers detected, but also their mortar and ammunition depot. These were quickly neutralized as they became a target for the kamikaze drones. But it didn't end there. The FPV drones took flight again. This time, the target was the ruined houses where the Russian soldiers were hiding. Destroying these ruins meant both eliminating enemy equipment and neutralizing the soldiers themselves. Digging into the details of this military event, we see that the enemy soldiers weren't just hiding. They were also using the abandoned houses in the area as depots. And of course, that didn't escape the notice of the FPV drones. On the Ukraine-Russia front, the destruction of enemy convoys has become routine for Ukrainian soldiers. Ukraine's 35th Brigade has just destroyed another Russian armored convoy using FPV drone attacks. The operation began in the morning, after Ukrainian reconnaissance drones spotted the Russian vehicles advancing across open ground. Soon after the FPV drones took flight, operators marked the targets one by one. The first blow hit the lead armored vehicle, followed by a series of successive attacks. Each hit brought an enemy vehicle to a halt. In this latest military engagement from the Ukraine-Russia front, the enemy armored convoy was, once again, completely destroyed. Ukrainian soldiers have become highly proficient at detecting the enemy and immediately launching attacks to stop their movements and neutralize them. This clearly shows everyone how determined their struggle is. Every Ukrainian soldier is doing their part well and not giving the enemy a chance. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Turn on notifications to stay up to date on the latest developments. We'll see you in the next military analysis.